Mom. My name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about all the books that I read last week. So again, the week before last was a really big reading week, and this one is not dainty. So we're just going to hop right into it. So I read a handful of graphic novels and middle grade books, so we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the adult books. So the first one was Crumble, and this is a graphic novel by Meredith McLaren and Andrea Bell, and this is a really heavy, sad book about a girl who her family, it's got like a touch of magical realism because in her family, you can bake feelings into things. And so she bakes this really great stuff and everything. And then her aunt, her mom goes like touring kind of to present about this talent and all of that. And she stays with her aunt, and then something happens to her aunt, and there is sadness in her life. And so then our main character can't stop baking sadness into things. And so things taste awful and they're making people sick. And really, this is a book about grief and loss and depression, especially when you're a child and understanding that. And this was really good, but really heavy. Followed by another one that I did not anticipate being heavy, but this is Bannered by Sarah Clausen Willis. And this is about a girl who it's her 7th grade maybe year, and she starts going to an art school. And so she has always been first chair flute. She really prides herself on being first chair flute. She's not that great at school, but she is really good at the flute. And so she goes to this kind of prestigious academy where the academics are higher, but so is the band status. And so she is really wanting to get first chair. And she's got this gal who has always been first chair there, and her mom is like in the music business, and so she's kind of battling it out for first chair. The reason this is so heavy is because there's a lot going on in her personal life, and her dad is a very intense alcoholic. And as a child of an alcoholic, this one hit a little too close to home. And eventually we see why first chair is so important to her and how, she's willing to sacrifice everything, including her academics, including friendships, all of that. And yeah, this was a heavy read. And I did let my daughter read Crumble, if you guys are interested. My 7-year-old, I was comfortable handing this to her, well knowing that it's, kind of with a conversation before she read it about grief and what's going on in this book. This one I did not, because our main character is carrying some really heavy things. Then together we read Leland and the New Class Mix-Up. I thought this was going to be just a tiny little thing, but it's a little bit longer. We still read it in a day or two, but this is the start of a new series about a girl this is not graphic, about a girl who goes to a school, and she's always been with her best friend. She prays about it. This is published, I think, by Zonder Kids. And so she prays about it, and she is like, we're good. This is going to happen. And it doesn't. Her best friend is in a different class. And so there's conversations around how God and prayer is not like a genie granting wishes. And I really like that. It's also about making new friends and how you can have multiple best friends and still be best friends. And this was great. I can't wait for the next one to come out. I think this came out in August of this year, and the next one doesn't come out until August of next year. But this was a great one, and I liked reading it with the girls. Then back to the graphics. I'm talking about these in the order that I read them, which is probably not helpful. So we'll go back to the graphics. How to Draw a Secret. So this is another one that was heavier than anticipated, but in an okay way. This is about a girl who her dad left her family. So it's her mom and her 3 sisters, and he went back to let's see where it is. Taiwan. Okay, so her dad went back to Taiwan and kind of left the family, but he still checks in every now and again and whatever. Then the grandma dies, and so they have to go to Taiwan for the funeral. And so going there, she discovers a lot of secrets about her dad, and just being divorced, and they're not divorced, but being divorced in general is something that is frowned upon in the Taiwanese culture. So her mom wants her to keep it a secret. And she's given this project to draw something about what family means to her. And she is very, very into art. And so she really wants to do this project well. But holding this secret that her family is torn apart is something that she doesn't know how to handle. And then when she gets to Taiwan and discovers even more about her dad's life, she's really not sure how to do it. I loved this book for how it showed like the messiness of family, and that how we all think everybody's family's got it all together, but if we go sit at anybody's dinner table, things are probably not what they seem, and that things are just messy when it comes to families there, or a bunch of humans with some messy past. So I really like this. Then this one still has a tag on it from our library holds, but this is Almost Sunset, and this is a book that I had such high hopes for. So this is about a boy celebrating Ramadan and fasting during it. And so Ramadan is a month-long celebration of in the Muslim culture, and they can only eat when the sun is down. And so this is about him trying to get through school, friendships, soccer, all of that while not eating and fasting. And I really wanted to like this book because I really thought this had a great potential to shed light on a different culture and different things, but I felt like this stayed too surfacey, and it never told us why they're fasting, and so there's kids that are cheating, all that kind of stuff, and he's trying to keep it kind of a secret, and we don't know why. So why are you doing this? Is this a rebellious, why are you doing this? And I really wish we would have had that conversation, and it didn't, but it was still good. It was still good-ish. Then no more graphic novels, but we do have 2 more middle grades. We read Trouble at Table 5, The Candy Caper. So this is the first in the Trouble at Table 5 series, and this is about a girl who she sees a jar of Skittles on her principal's desk, and she has to know how many Skittles are in that jar. And these kind of OCD tendencies are something that she, I guess, really struggles with, and I wish they would have discussed that, but potentially labeled her or whatever, just discussed kind of neurodivergency, because the girl, it is definitely a level in which it's a neurodivergency of some sort, and for other kids to feel seen, I think it could have really done more. But her friends and her plan this whole thing to go figure out to like a whole heist to steal the jar, figure out how many are in there, and return it. And so this was really cute. This one was actually a lot shorter than I thought, and there's quite a few in the series. I am going to hand this off to my daughter and let her continue the series because it's a good one. And then the last middle grade is this, Disney Princess Beginnings, Belle's Discovery. So I didn't know this series existed. It's all about Disney princesses when they're kids, and Belle is our favorite around here. And so this is about Belle. She is going to school, and she's just kind of outcast. She's kind of a weird kid, all that. And she discovers this supposedly haunted bookstore, and she makes friends with the reclusive owner and discovers that the bookstore is in trouble. And so she tries to save the bookstore. And you guys, this is super bookish, and I really loved it. It's really sweet. It's not the best thing ever, but I did go ahead and request all the other Disney Princess Beginnings. And again, I will hand this off to my daughter and let her read these because they're really good. So there's that. I really wish I could just do all middle grade reading because I want to know. And this has nothing to do with the Beauty and the Beast story at all. It's just the character of Belle. So there's that. Then I did read, so now on to adults. So I read Little Souls by Sandra Dallas, and this is one that I enjoyed. I've liked Sandra Dallas in the past, and this is by far not her best in my opinion. This takes place around the time of the Spanish flu, World War I, all of that, and it's about 2 sisters navigating that. And it's hard to say a whole lot without being spoilery. And it's not it's not one that endears you to the characters in a way that I would think a book like this would. And so it's not one that's going to stay with me very long, but I enjoyed my experience reading it. I liked the Spanish flu element. I liked the conversation around what happens when there's a nationwide epidemic, and how people are treated and how humanity kind of goes out the window. And so I liked that. This one it's not going to have the staying power. It was maybe a 3.5. Then I read Decluttering at the Speed of Life, Winning Your Never-Ending Battle with Stuff. And this is by Dana K. White. She wrote, I can't remember what the other book is, but I've read a book by her and I like it. This one is a good reminder for a lot of different things. So she is not one that says, you need to get everything out and then figure out where it goes or what sparks joy or whatever like that. She is talking just about decluttering little tiny bits at a time until your space feels livable. And I love the reminder of making your space work for you. If something is stressing you out, fix it. If something is stressing you out, you need less, and that's okay, whatever that looks like. And if it's her whole premise is kind of a container theory, I don't know if you can hear the baby like squawking in the background. My husband's with her. She's fine, but she is yelling at somebody. So the container method, she says, everything is a container, and if it doesn't fit in the container, get rid of it. So she uses the example of scarves or books, and she was like, books might be touchy. So you've got a container, which is your bookshelves. Put your favorites in, and then anything that doesn't fit needs to go. You've got scarves. You have a scarf basket, a scarf hanging situation, whatever it is. Put your favorites in first. Whatever's left has to go. And I really liked that idea, and just having it be neutral, like emotionally neutral, and even having your kids do it. Here's the toy box. Put everything you really want in there. Everything else has to go. And just, I love the idea of being minimalist. I love it. We are not, my family is definitely more minimalist. My husband is from a farm where they have acreage to keep a lot of stuff. And so we are somewhere in the middle, but I would love to go more towards the minimalist side of things. But I really enjoyed this book for the reminders. I also loved, she has a series of questions for you to ask yourself every time you touch something. And she says, separate it, like first just start with an area with trash. Pick up all the trash and see what that does. Then she says easy stuff that has a definite place to put away. Go put it away. The does to get rid of. So kind of ask yourself those things, like separate things into those categories. Start in a space, put the trash in one spot, the does to give away in one spot, and the things that have a spot elsewhere, go put those away. And then ask yourself, let's see, if I needed this item, where would I look for it? So if you have a spot where you would look for it, go put it in that spot. If you don't, maybe you don't need it. And then the second question is if you do have a spot or something, or if you don't, if I needed this item, would I remember I had it? And so like that especially applies to like our storage room. Would I even remember I had this item? If not, get rid of it. Now, of course, with a book like this, there is also going to be a lot of privilege that is implied. The whole act of decluttering, I think implies that. So being able to donate things is a privilege. Being able to get rid of things is a privilege. I will say this book gets a little repetitive because it's following the same sequence of steps for every area of your house. But I really love too that she addresses like what happens if your spouse doesn't want to declutter and you do, and how to do that, and how to protect your mental health but also protect your marriage, and helping other people declutter. And she really goes into a lot of that. And so this was really motivating to me, and a new way of looking at things, because as a mom of four, my time is very limited, and I love the idea of taking like a bookshelf, pulling everything out and only putting back, but if I can just look at a bookshelf and take one book off, or look at my closet and take one thing out, that's also helpful. And if I can do that, I just like this idea. So there's that. And then the last one, adult, that I read is Vax Facts by Paul Thomas and Dee Dee Hoover. Now, my intentions for this channel, when I started it in 2017. And when I started it in 2017, caveat that I started it in 2017 when I was pregnant with my first child, and then morning sickness and pregnancy got me down. So those videos no longer exist, but I started it in December of 2019. And even then, YouTube and booktube was different than it is now. It was definitely a space where that you saw a lot of Friday reads and just kind of wrap ups. It was, now I feel like we're in a space where booktube is out creative the next person, and you've got to do all these vlogs, and you've got to do all these creative things. You've got to come up with new ideas and new content and do this and do that. And things are not as simple as they were when I started booktube. And I don't know that I want to keep up. Like, I'm not saying I want to stop this channel or anything like that, but I'm saying my channel may always be the weekly reads, the, kind of the basics, the YouTube, booktube, like oldies but goodies. And because I still think those are oldies but goodies. I love the creative content that people put out, but my brain doesn't have the capacity to do a whole bunch of super creative vlogs, super creative TBRs, all that kind of stuff, And so I just will always read what I want to read. I'm not going to niche down into some genre just to fit the YouTube algorithm. because like YouTube really wants you to kind of fit in a box, and I'm going to read what I want to read. I'm going to share what I read, and I'm going to tell you about it and my thoughts, not sugar-coated. You guys know I'm not great at sugar-coating things, and I'm going to keep it basic. And YouTube doesn't love that. And so as I've been like doing more and more research on the vax situation, every time I post a video talking about it, I lose a lot of subscribers, and that's okay. That's okay. I am just trying to gain information. I will not get political on this channel. I will not talk about what I'm doing with my kids, what I'm not doing with my kids, what I think, in specifics. But it's interesting how polarizing reading can get. And, yeah. So I just want to say that before and this is my last book on that, not because of anybody's reaction, honestly, because I'm going to continue to read what interests me, and I'm going to post about what interests me, and what I have the capacity to do at this point. But this is the last book because my brain is going to explode because I have made decisions for my family for where we are right now, and right now I'm on information overload, and it's tipped over into the anxious thing. But this book specifically, I lost a lot of respect for Dr. Paul Thomas in this book. He wrote the Vaccine Friendly Plan, which I read, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, or months ago. I don't know what I read it, but I really enjoyed that because he is a former pediatrician who gave his thoughts on the whole situation and what is essential, what is not essential, why, what he recommends, and his kind of like melding of the two worlds, of the extreme anti people and the extreme pro people, and how he kind of melds those two worlds. I thought it was really wonderful. And in this book, he has taken a far, far extreme, and it felt very conspiracy theory. It felt like we were finding data just to kind of fit the narrative. And it felt just, it lost that for me. It lost, and we even talk about like new age spirituality, and this just lost it for me a little bit. So, I'm done reading those books, like I said, because I think I've processed as much as I can process, and this one really disappointed me. So there is that. And so now, on that note, let's talk about what I'm currently reading. I am reading with the girls, The Kicks, Win or Lose. This is a series that I've talked about a lot, about a middle school soccer team, and they are in the playoffs, and they're having some team squabbles. So this is a good one. We're also listening to Surprises According to Humphrey. This is number maybe 4 in the Humphrey series, just following the life of a class hamster. And then I am just about to start The Bean Trees by Barbara Kingsolver, and I'm buddy reading this with Becca from Becca Books and Bujo. And I don't have high hopes, honestly. So I made the end of it. I'm not very far into it, but I don't know. There's that. And then I'm also reading a graphic novel, Millie of the Manor. This is about a girl who gets invited to a murder mystery party, and she has a lot of social anxiety, and so she's trying to figure out how to navigate that. So that is everything that I'm currently reading, everything that I've read. A little tangent that I didn't mean to go on, but I did. And just to say, yeah, I will always be upfront with you guys about what I'm reading, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. And I would like this to be a safe space for everybody. And if you want to unsubscribe for any reason, that's okay. And if you don't, that's okay. I just think it's interesting how talking about anything will get you kind of, flagged. But that's fine. Yeah, that's it. That is all I have to talk about. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.